as I said, culture. Culture is very, very key in football. The culture is very, very key in football. The way of life of the players, how they relate to each other, the language they speak. Those times I remember when we were playing Coast, okay, when we get to uh, certain areas where we think they can't speak Ga, you will see that we will speaking Ga to ourselves so that at least we can use our language to outsmart our opponent. Now let's look at the Blasters. Anytime they go to African Cup of Nations or they go to the World Cup, because of their language, Charlie Passable, Charlie Fafa, Fafa, all those things that they were saying, the Europeans and the South Americans and the teams that we meet, they don't understand the language. They don't understand. So, Charlie Lai, Bobo on the two many. Oh, Asama Pejauti, Asama Faha, you say. So all these things that they were saying, at least you are tackling the player, but you don't know what his other colleague is saying. Derek, Mimba, Chibolami. So you see that Derek Boateng will be holding the ball, then Asamoah Gyan will call him. As I said, Charlie, Jan, dash more. So this is the culture. This is the culture. And this culture helped football. The way they talk, how they eat, everything, the way they live at the camp is very, very key. And this is one of the major problems why Ghana football is sinking. It is sinking. It is sinking. Most of our players are, let's say, anti-show. Even at the camp, you see isolations. It is not the best. Blasters, when they are doing the jama, you see some are just clapping. They don't understand the language. The likes of Antoine Semenyo, the likes of, just mentioning them, Tariq Lamptey, when the Blasters are doing the Jama version, which is the spirit of the Blasters. Let me tell you, what has helped Blasters most is the spirit, the teamwork. And Blasters teamwork always emanate from the Jama, and that is one of the DNAs, one of the things that has helped Ghana football. I play Coast, and I know what I'm talking about. I play Coast. Those times when we are in our bus, we are in our vans going to play football, the Jama, even we start before we get into the bus or the van. Then in the van, you do Jama all over till we get to our opponent, let's say, home. Even if you are playing home, you do the Jama till we get to the field. Even after shake up, after doing our stretch and everything, we still do our Jama. It was fun. It was fun. And we're enjoying it. So the culture is very, very key. The reason why Blasters are not doing well, the under-17s, the Black Queens, the Princesses, the Maidens, the Searchlights, the Meteors are not doing well. One is culture. One is culture. The way of life of the players is totally different. The females, we are bringing expatriates to come and join us. Yes, they are Ghanaians. But how would they adapt? How would they adapt? So what I would advise is that if we have, let's say, Ghanaians outside, sometimes you should see or we should look at when do we bring this person in and how do we bring them? How do we bring them? So sometimes you look at, we have to consider their ages. Okay, if you look at the player's age, he's maybe 23, he's 20. Don't bring the player straight to the Blasters. Send that player to the other divisions. Let's say they are under 17, they are under 20, down. Let that player adapt that culture. Do you think the France national teams, the blacks over there, do you think that they just pick them, they grew somewhere and they just pick them? No. They are blacks who grew up in France. They grew up in France. And growing up in France, they have to convert them, let them join their what? Their nationality. But we are not doing our own like that, which is killing us. Culture is very, very, very key. It's very key. So let's see how we can use our way of life to build our national team. People are talking about spirituality. People are talking about a whole lot of things. Please, The spiritual aspect can be there, but then everything that happened in the spirit also have some sort of physicality. Okay, if you are being planned in the spiritual realm that they will kill you, physically, if you are vigilant and you do your things right, things will help go right for you. Especially if you have good heart, good mindset, you work hard, you'll be able to get what you need. So what I'm saying is that Ghana, we need to look at one, our culture. The tree is very, very important. Just imagine Antoine Semenyo having, let's say, having a ball. Can Kudus tell him that, Charlie, Duba, oh, Zonanga, he can't communicate. But look at Fatawi Shahaku and Mohammed Kudus. They are all Muslims. They all speak Hausa. So Kudus will say, Charlie, Duba, Charlie. So you see those boys. So anytime Kudus is playing with Ishaku at the right side, see the cohesion, see the telepathy. It works. It is working for them. Whether they can speak Chi or they speak their Hausa, it goes for them. So if you can remember the players that were gelling much in the national team then, Jai Boateng always he gelled very well with Asamoah Gyan because of the gun. You get it, like Kingston, because of the gun. Do you understand? And most of them also even played in Italy, like Asamoah Gyan, the Stephen Appiah, and Sule Muntari. All these guys also played what in Italy, and they understand what the Italy dialect. So sometimes, depending on the opponent that they are playing, they speak the dialect, and it helps them. Otuado, how frequent he is even with the chi? I think today even the culture, I should even talk about much about the culture because the culture is very, very key. It is one of the things that is not helping, especially our blaster. The culture, the way of life of the players. I think that is one of the things that is not helping the blasters at all. Now the expatriates are even more than the indigenous, let's say indigenous Guinean people or the Guinean players. The expatriates, they are more than the indigenous Ghanaian players. So the way of life is different. We have the German culture, we have the English culture in there, we have the Spanish culture in there. Very different cultures. It's now fortunate for us that some of our players, like Mohamed Kudus, Fatawi Shahaku, they are going to England to also learn, let's say, a bit of the English culture. So at least one way or the other, we can say that as time goes by, they will also understand the Antoine Semenyos, they will understand the Tariq Lampteys, they will understand the Brandon Thomas Asante's way of life. But how well would the Thomas Asante's also adapt to the Kudus way of life? That's the typical Ghanaian life. This is very key. Imagine Jiku. Imagine Jiku, that party is saying, Charlie possible on the tour. Charlie is saying, how can he understand? So sometimes the players are forced to speak English on the field of play. And most of the opponents you are playing with, most of the players can understand the English. And when it's happened that way, it is inimical to our status because you are telling indeed your opponent where you want to pass the ball to, how you want to pass the ball, and how you want to fare on the field of play. Our coach doesn't even understand the tree proper. So he can't even communicate the tree, and even how many players is going to communicate the tree to. It is very, 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 very essential. And this is killing the Black Stars especially, and even from the ranks, it is killing us, the Black Queens. Now we have a white coach. Most of our ladies, excuse me, I'm not discrediting some of you, but most of our footballers in Ghana here, most of our footballers don't go to school. Most of us, the footballers, most of us don't go to school. And now we have an English, let's say a coach who speak English to the Black Queens. We have a lot of Ghanaians also born in Europe and other countries. Our USA, we have them in the Black Queens. The communication, the adaptation, the cohesion, the team telepathy, teamwork. How do they fail? How do they gel? And as I told you, the one key thing that helps a national team or the Ghana national teams is the Jama. It's the Jama. So culture. I think today, let me deal with the culture. Okay. Then I'll come the next episode. I'll look at the transition proper. I'll be talking about transition. Today, let me end with the culture, the way of life of footballers, of Kenyans, the food we eat at a camp. I'm just getting some flashbacks and some imageries. Then times, it was fun. It was fun. But now what do we see? What do we see? Sometimes you play some opponent that is big Hausa. I quite remember I was playing against some team, and the boys they were speaking Hausa because they don't want me to understand what they want to do. So you see, I was playing at the right back, so I was tackling their number 11. Then times we play the classic way of football. So play number 11, play number 2, play number this. But now tactically things are not the same as we used to. So I was tackling the number 11. Then the number 3, okay, will be communicating with the number 11 in Hausa, how he should outsmart me, and so on and so forth. And I was ignorant about their communication, but then I just try to use my experience and the skill I have to stop them. But sometimes it's not always you can stop them because they are using a language you don't understand. So culture is one of the key things, major thing in football. And culture is a way of life. So it's not only language, the reactions, how we behave, the food even we eat at the camp, a whole lot and so forth. So the one of the reasons why Ghana we are failing in football is culture. Now, thank you very much. Do one and subscribe for me. Like, share, and your comments are welcome. I'll continue, and I'll give you the other aspect. The next thing I'll be talking about is the transitional process. How do we transit from 1 to 2, from coast to the national teams, from national under 17, national under 20, 23, and then that of the national team proper. Thank you very much. My name is Peter Aponju. Call me the youngest commander. Thank you for watching.